Hello and welcome to South Asia Focus. I'm Smita Prakash. Chinese President Xi Jinping was on a two-day visit to Pakistan the past week, marking his first state visit to the South Asian nation and the first by a Chinese head of state in 9 years. Beijing has long described Pakistan as an iron friend and a friend which has always stood the test of time. Here's a report.
Xi Jinping arrived in Islamabad on April 20th to a grand ceremonial welcome. He met Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif soon after his arrival. Aim of Xi's visit to Pakistan was to launch $46 billion in projects, a figure which far exceeds what the USA has spent in Pakistan in the past decade, and also points to the fact that how serious is China about creating a strong economic foothold in South Asia. The signing of agreements between the two neighbors aimed at setting up a Pakistan-China economic corridor between Pakistan's southern Gwadar port on the Arabian Sea and China's western Xinjiang region. It's the part of China's ambition to form a Silk Route for markets in West Asia and Europe. According to President Xi, the agreements further cemented what is termed as all-weather strategic cooperative partnership between China and Pakistan.
Sides agreed to elevate China-Pakistan relations to an all-weather strategic cooperative partnership, to enrich the dimensions and contents of the China-Pakistan community of shared destiny.
Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif said that the economic corridor would convert Pakistan into a regional hub and facilitate China to create a shorter and cheaper route for trade and investments.
This corridor will benefit all provinces and areas in Pakistan and transform our country into a regional hub and pivot for commerce and investment. It will also enable China to create a shorter and cheaper route for trade and investment with South, Central and West Asia and the Middle East and Africa.
The proposed corridor, which includes roads, railways and pipelines, will pass through Pakistan's troubled Balochistan province, which has been struggling from separatist insurgency for a long time, something that the Pakistan Army has repeatedly resolved to suppress. This therefore does raise doubts about the successful implementation of the grand economic investments of China. Pakistani officials predict that most of these projects would be completed within 1 and 3 years, but some of the infrastructure projects could take more than a decade to complete.
习主席的这次国事访问，将对中巴关系的未来发展做出战略规划和长远部署，全面地提升中巴两国的战略合作伙伴关系，推进中巴在各领域的一批务实合作项目，取得丰硕的成果。习近平主席的这次访问，还将进一步深化两国人民之间的传统友谊，进一步打造中巴命运共同体。
As economic expert Dr. Kesar Bengali told BBC that though Pakistan has many problems to overcome, its move to end militant sanctuaries in the northwest has created an air of expectancy, and the arrival of Chinese investment at this time suggests Pakistan has a once-in-a-lifetime chance to make an economic turnaround. A significant development also has been Pakistan announcing that it has given the green signal in principle to the acquisition of 8 Chinese submarines for the Pakistani Navy, a move which would be seen nervously in India. This development is significant because it's a huge order for a navy that at the moment only has 5 submarines in its fleet. Also, it will be the first time that China has exported its submarines. A major headache for China over the years has been violence from Islamist separatists from Xinjiang province. China blames them for the many horrific terror attacks across its land over the past year or so and believes that they may have joined hands with Pakistan-based militants. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif on his part assured President Xi and said that Pakistan considered Chinese security as important as its own. A big statement considering the complete failure of the Pakistani state is curbing terror attacks on its own soil. On April 21st, President Xi Jinping, while addressing the Pakistani parliament, said that in the new century, Pakistan has stood at the front line of international fight against terrorism and made remarkable efforts and has endured immense sacrifices.
We should stick together in face of difficulty and jointly meet security challenges. Our two countries share a common stake in security. Over the years, Pakistan has overcome all kinds of difficulties and contributed greatly to the security and stability of China's western border areas, and this is something that we shall never forget.
New century. Pakistan has stood at the front line of international fight against terrorism. It has made tremendous efforts. It has endured enormous sacrifice.
Pakistani President Mamnoon Hussain even conferred Pakistan's highest civil award, Nishan-e-Pakistan, to President Xi at a special investiture ceremony at the Presidential Palace in Islamabad.
Meanwhile, the increasing bonhomie between Pakistan and China has naturally raised many an eyebrow in India, even though officially India has welcomed the move and said it would bring stability to the region. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is scheduled to visit China next month.
Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan TCA Raghavan, while speaking at the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Chamber of Commerce and Industry, said India has no problem over the growing relations between Pakistan, Iran, China and Afghanistan. He further said that there was a need to remove this misperception between Pakistan and India for the restoration of mutual trust. China, though, has tried to dispel Indian concerns. Chinese Assistant Foreign Minister Liu Jianchao asked India not be over-concerned about the China-Pakistan economic corridor as it did not pass through any area which India has territorial claims over. However, according to India, the corridor passes through the Gilgit-Baltistan region, which was a part of the erstwhile undivided Indian Jammu and Kashmir state before it was separated from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and ultimately given provincial status some years back. Therefore, the passing through of China-Pakistan corridor through a disputed territory is an authentic and internationally legit concern of India. Former Indian Army officer Brigadier Gurmeet Kanwal, though, is not convinced by China's assurances to India. He writes that the China-Pakistan nexus has led to anxiety about China's future intentions. While capabilities take decades to develop, intentions can change overnight. He says India should concentrate its energies on developing its economy and building its military capabilities in order to face up to the Chinese challenge.
A big challenge for China in increasing presence in Pakistan would be facing the native complex problems of the country. It certainly would not be easy to complete ambitious projects in troubled regions. India, on its part, has chance to further strengthen its ties with the Dragon Nation when Mr. Modi pays a visit next month. More on that in the coming episodes. Thank you for watching South Asia Focus.